Welcome back, friends, to another episode with the good, the bad, and the Bible. And today I'm organized enough to show you the living conditions of where I'm at right now. I do have to upgrade my vehicle as soon as possible, unfortunately, because there is a fuck ton of rust on it. So yeah. I mean, it was the best purchase that I could make at the time. So, but you know, you do what you got to do to get by. But anyways, I already know the setup for when I get my new van. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I did have to downsize a lot and get rid of a number of things, which was fine. I was trying to do that anyways. It sucks having ADHD, or, whatever it is that makes me overthink. Maybe it's anxiety. I don't know. I don't think it's anxiety. I feel like I'm too chill sometimes. But anyways, this is the gist of it. Well, I mean, there's the front, obviously. Yeah, that's the litter box and all that great shit. And yep. Pretty much everything is on one side. I got a few things on the other, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I got shit under the coffee table. There's my boy passed out, staying cool. Yeah. But yeah, all my shit's in my totes here and some under there, under the mattress and stuff. So yeah, it works out. And I mean, that is actually my love seat in the back. It's the only comfortable way that I've been able to sleep due to my back, unfortunately. But it works, and as long as I keep on stretching, which I'm doing better at. Having a gym membership helps, but still need to do better. It's a work in progress. And my next order of business, I got to get the AC on this thing fixed because it is not consistent. And people are saying it's going to be a hot summer, so I got to get that done ASAP. Before I even upgrade this fan, I already got to pay for the AC to be fixed, which also kind of sucks, but that's life. Try not to overstress it. Can't let it get to you. And it's all just money, right? So, where are we today in Deuteronomy? It has been a minute since I've been able to get to this. And I only have about an hour to record right now. Because I'm doing this on a day that I'm about to be working a approximately 12-hour shift as a dishwasher. Sucks. But that's how it goes on Saturday nights at Twin Peaks. But yes, so we have an extra controversial bit for us today. I am very excited to get to this, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a spoiler towards the end about another part in the Bible, but I mean, it's just how it happens to tie in. It's quite lovely, and it was kind of a shocker, actually, because it was a little known fact that I knew this entire time, but never really realized about the Bible that was actually very incredibly dark. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Today we're starting in chapter 7. There's actually a fair chunk of stuff here. Right out the gate, we're seeing God telling, through Moses, he is telling the Israelites through Moses to wipe out these 7 nations. And yeah, he's not going into full explicit take out the men, the women, and children. Like, he's not using those words specifically, but he is saying, specifically in verse 2, You will utterly destroy them. You will make no covenant with them, nor show mercy upon them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take for unto thy son. Thy God is 100% against all 7 of these nations. And it's honestly, that it's straight up genocide again, but times 7, which is a lot. And I mean, sure, we could say, well, they're on the land that God's going to give to them. Well, why couldn't God just like have them move, you know? And why wipe out every single one of them? Why, like, you're telling me there's not a single innocent person among them? Like, not even the infants, the children? Like, this is some harsh shit right here. But no, he's so adamant because God is so adamant. His reasoning is, they will turn away thy son from following me. They will serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Which, funny enough, actually never happens. It has never happened. And believe me, I know the Bible. Not the next book, but 2 books away, the book of Judges is all about the Israelites constantly ditching out on God. And God never once suddenly destroys them. He never wipes them out. He always lets another nation come in and do his dirty work. Which is kind of peculiar if you think about it. God never uses the 10 plagues of Egypt ever again. He only used them on Egypt. He never uses them on Israel. Never the full set. Just other nations. Something to think about. And of course, break down their altars, their images, cut down their groves, burn their graven images with fire. God is this God is incredible, and it is curious, like, why these particular nations, like, does Yahweh or Moses think that everyone outside of these 7 nations worships the same deity as the Israelites? Like, come on, what's the deal with these particular 7 nations and their deities? And even if those deities, let's say their religions are just as, if not more, intolerant or messed up than the one we're discussing here, like, how can you wipe out the entire nation, like, over religion? God's literally telling the Israelites to go to war over religion and to commit genocide over religion. Not against all nations in the world. Maybe that's how some of the crazies translate it, because there's 7 nations here, and 7 is like a number of completion. So maybe that's why some Jews think they deserve to rule the world. I don't know. Maybe these 7 nations were the 7. I don't know. Maybe they were like the seven power heads of nations at the time, the NATO of their day. I really don't know. But 7 in sacrifice for 1. even if it's just being literal, and it's literally just 7 nations that God wants to wipe out, that's a lot. I don't care if these are like, you know, UK sized countries. If it was just 7 of those, that's still a lot of them. Okay, like this is genocide. And why does God say to do it? Why does he want them to be so separate and everything? It says, because thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord hath chosen thee. This is verse 6. He's chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yeah, that's racist. That's literally the definition of racist. To put one group of people over the other. This is why I had the discussion that I had in my last video, because certain people take this very literally, so much so that they're putting it into law, trying to make it illegal to talk about this and discuss this sort of stuff. Which is why we gotta protect our freedom of speech over this shit. This is fucking dangerous. And what is the reason? Is there even a good reason? Like eugenics? Or like, if that were even a good reason, I don't really think that would be a good reason personally. I've heard the argument. Is there something to DNA structuring? Sure, maybe. Maybe, like, but the thing is, I think if there's certain physical traits that make one group have certain tendencies due to where they live and the climate and all that stuff, yeah, I think it's natural. I don't think it makes them better. I think it makes them more adapted, more suitable to the area they live. I don't think it makes them a better capable human that deserves more respect or honor than other humans. And, you know, and honestly, I believe every group has their own perks, their own setbacks. It's natural. It's balanced. It's how it's going to be. You know, no one's better than the other. Everyone's just adapted to their area of where they live. So everyone's going to have automatic I don't want to say advancements. What's the word? Bonuses, benefits, because they've lived there, because they've adapted to it. A stranger that comes in, they're not gonna have those benefits naturally. So of course, certain people with certain physical capabilities, like running, doing really well at running, because they have lots of ancestors that did it, and they did it a lot in their native country. Yeah, of course they're gonna do really well in the Olympics. Doesn't really have anything to do with their skin color. It just has to do with where they're from and what their genetics have given them and what they themselves have also worked on and developed. It makes them more elite in that specific area, but it doesn't make them like elite above all humans. And this isn't even talking about eugenics. In fact, what is the logic behind what is given here? What is the reason that God gives? Because he doesn't always provide a reason, but of course this time he does. He does manage to do that. But because, verse 8, but because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers. hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and he goes off on this tangent about bringing them out of Egypt and all that shit. But that is the reason. That is the reasoning, because God loved you and chose you. He decided to make you special. He decided to not give out equal treatment. He made a promise. And honestly, you can actually go back and look. I had to go back and check for myself, and no, it is not there. This bit about God putting the Israelites above other people, that is not part of the original covenant. That was not mentioned to Abraham. This is new information that has been added by Moses, since he's the one that supposedly wrote these books and is the one that is speaking now. And so that is it. There are really no other reasons. There's not even anything in the original covenant for this that states why God chose Abraham above other people, or why this shit is what Moses is making up right here, because the Lord loved you and is trying to keep his commandments with Abraham. Like, keeping the commandments, okay. Love, I don't know if I would define this relationship between Yahweh and Israel as love, to be honest. Feels more like very controlling, very manipulative, very anti-free will, to be honest. Just super controlling. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, he goes on to stress that, you got to make sure, he ends the chapter with telling them, make sure that you destroy all the images, every single sign of these other gods. Like, this is the most cult shit ever. Like, there is absolutely no open-mindedness being allowed here. If you look at how cults are defined and everything like this, the way this deity is acting, it is very controlling. It is very don't talk to people, don't get to know other deities, don't ask questions. Oh, all these 7 people, these 7 nations of people that are going to be in the land that I want you to possess, even though it's 7, that means it's 7 times bigger than what you need. Probably even more so. Like, don't even ask them to move out. Don't be peaceful with them. Just wipe them out. God is it's very unusual what God decides who Israel should be at all-out war with and who they should ask for alliances with. There's even times where they make alliances that God does not approve of. But we'll get to those stories when we get to them. And he says, it's kind of funny in verse 12, chapter 7, he says, wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments, and keep and do them, that the Lord thy God shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto thy fathers. There's a lot of usage of the word mercy. And it's kind of messed up, because mercy is when you don't get a punishment that you deserve. So, and he's saying, if you keep my commandments, I'll be merciful to you. But like, how are they supposed to be able to take advantage of that mercy if they're keeping the laws? He's being merciful to them while they're doing what they're telling him to. You see how that doesn't really kind of add up? Like that's not how mercy works. You do what I tell you, then I'll have mercy on you? Like that, what? Like, but if it's like there's an automatic, I don't know, desire or tendency, inclination to want to destroy. And it's like, oh, do what I say and appease me, and I will show you mercy. Have free will. Go about your own way. And I'm going to lose my shit. That's Yahweh for you. He's not a fan of free will at all. He really isn't. He is he's a dick. And it's kind of hilarious because over in chapter 8, he says, thou shalt also consider in your heart that as a man chasteneth or disciplines, punishes, to correct his son, so the Lord thy God disciplines you. So God is saying that He is treating Israel the way He thinks fathers should treat their kids. He's disciplining them. So every time He kills people who rebel against Moses, like other Israelites who want to do their own thing, who want to have some religious freedom, who want to maybe live outside the camp, or want to marry someone of non-Israeli descent. They want to go against the system. Maybe not necessarily to go against the system, but just to, experience life in a different way from everyone else that they're around. God kills them so many times. And so we're saying that according to Yahweh, there are instances where parents should kill their children. And the thing is, according to the Bible, yes, there is such a passage. Would you like to know what it is? Because it's a good bit of ways from now, so you probably forget about it when we get to it again. Fuck it, I'll tell you. Over in chapter 21, it's just 4 verses that we have right here. And they say, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him or disciplined him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, not weed, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. Yeah, so basically, if you have an extra rebellious son that just refuses to obey or refuses to fall in line, you can even accuse him of being a glutton and a drunkard, even if it's not true, apparently. I have no idea how that got in there, but that's part of it. Like, that's not even part of the excuse. Like, how do we know? Like, this is all in the power of the father and mother. There is actually no lawyer, there is no representation, for the child. What if the child has a good reason to not obey the mother and father? What if they have a reason to be this stubborn? What if the things that the mother and father are demanding of them are abusive or wrong or are hurting the child? Where the fuck is CPS in this story? Children have absolutely no rights in this religion. I mean, you see how quickly God has no issue with offing the children of other nations. He'll lay it out, literally. We've seen it in previous episodes. And he said, show no mercy to those 7 nations in chapter 7. And these crimes are so vague. Aside from drunkard and glutton, like, what? Wait, so... I mean, maybe these words are being mistranslated. Maybe drunkard doesn't necessarily have to do with alcohol. Maybe glutton... Maybe that's just being lazy in general. I don't know. But still, if they're, if they're just wanting an extra casual life, or, they want to chase drugs or whatever, like, or they insist on making bad decisions, why do you have to execute them over it just because they're being disobedient? Like, what the fuck? And I mean, what if it's more, what if it's an even deeper problem than that? What if it's a psychological problem? What if it is what if they're autistic or some other shit like that? I mean, maybe they didn't have as much of those issues back then because they didn't have as much crap put into their food like we do now, but that's... How is that a reason to just... And especially in that way, stoning, that's an incredibly brutal way to kill someone. Let alone a minor. Like, what the fuck? This is some fucked up shit that is allowed within the original Hebrew religion. I doubt that they exercise this today, but this just goes to show you how fucked up a cult can be. This is why it's important to know what you believe, instead of just believing because it's what you're taught, because it's what you're told by your parents to do, to fit in. When you, and yeah, a lot of people think, oh, it's not harming anyone because no one acts like this now. The reason why I am still bringing this up, the reason why I am talking about this uncomfortable shit is because think of it, your mind is like, it's like a wall, or it's like, it's like a foundation. If you base your beliefs on something that has a weakness in it, that's like using a chipped block to build your house on. If you do that with religion, if you do that with your faith, you just pick something without thinking about it. You're picking a brick that was handed down to you, and you're not analyzing it, you're not looking at it, you're just like, oh, this is what everyone else is using, this is what I'm going to use. You don't actually look into it, you don't study it, you don't see it's like, oh, there are problems with it, oh, it's missing bits and pieces, there's things that it doesn't support this, it doesn't, there's issues over here with it, it goes and it, there are people that translate it this way, and there's no deity, there is no deity coming down to clarify any of this shit. It is all left up to man to decipher and to figure out. Fuck, we don't even have aliens coming down to help us out with this shit. I mean, maybe they're helping out with other shit, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck the aliens are doing. But God, the source, I mean, I believe in a divine source of creation. I just don't believe that it talks to people like in a grand, flashy way and then says, okay, I'm not doing any more miracles, just pass the word on, and then leaves it up to humans to believe that all these crazy miracles and shit happened. I mean, come on. We are way too in advance of a time, and honestly, I kind of find it despicable. How can you sentence your own child to death just because they're having issues obeying you? You can't even send them off into the wild, or I don't know. There's literally nothing you can do. Put them through boot camp. Put them in hard labor. I don't know. Put him through some sort of schooling. There's got to be some sort of alternative. Maybe him and his parents just really don't get along. Maybe his parents are shit at raising their kids. Maybe we should figure out what the child's perspective is and figure out what's going on there. Instead of just, oh, he's being disobedient, so we're going to call him names and tell everyone to throw rocks at him till he's dead. Come on, honey, let's go make another baby. It's fucking callous. And supposedly, people used to believe this shit. And today, many people still base their beliefs off this shit. I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't know about this particular point here because people don't actually read their Bibles. And even the ones that do, because mine did, and it didn't faze them, yeah. When you're raised to believe bullshit, you're fed it from birth. You said, oh, it's normal it's a normal idea for a father to take his son up on a mountain and almost kill him in the name of his God. But he didn't actually do it because God's not like that, like other nations. Oh, but he will tell the parents to kill their child if they're being excessively disobedient. So in a way, isn't that kind of the same way as, like, I mean, sure, you're purging the evil from among you, like, whatever the fuck it said in there. It's literally how it said it. It's just, it is so insane. It really is. It's insane. So I hope you've enjoyed this insane episode. This has taken me considerably less time than I thought it would. And I'm most pleased about that. So I will more than likely be editing and uploading this on the morrow. So, by the time you see it, your weekend will have been mostly over. So I hope it was awesome. I hope it wasn't too hot wherever you are. And until next time, my friends, stay safe and farewell.